Hello, welcome to the Bio Watch List. Today is the 12th of January 2024. I'm going to do an update on Ardelyx, tickers ARDX. I've posted many videos on this all the way back to August 2022, which is when I started buying into Ardelyx. So disclaimer, pull a disclaimer up here. This is not investment advice. Just like to share information on things. And there was a comment on StockTwits that asking for another video. So I don't know what else I can say that I haven't said, and I think I've done probably 7 different videos on Ardelyx. I'm all in. I'm probably about 95% of my net worth outside of the businesses that I own are in this stock, and I've been in it since before their AdCom. So, and I haven't sold a share since I'm going to say early 2023 is the last time I was doing swing trading. I just stopped doing it because I figured at some point what happened this week would happen. I was a little bit early on it. And then I bought my last share the week before the last group block of shares the week before their approval. And I'm just holding. I haven't sold any and I have no plans to sell it. So what can I do a video on? If you go back and watch all the other videos, you'll see where my thesis is. There's a lot of it. There's probably 6 or 7 hours of things. I've tried to look at everything that's available, so I don't know what else to add to those videos. What I figured I could do if I'm going to do another video, which I'm a little reluctant to do it because I don't have a lot more to say. My plan is to hold this stock. I would give it at least 2 years. 2 additional years. I mean, there's always the possibility of a buyout, but buyouts are very rare when you think about it. I think Big Pharma would be smart to do it, but I don't know what they're going to do. So that's what they are. What I figured I could show you is I do swing trade. I don't do it with this stock. I did it at first, but I stopped. But it's part of how some of it's like one revenue stream in terms of my income. I figured I would show you something because this stock is really very, in my opinion, very predictable. It was held down with tremendous shorting, as anyone who's paid attention knows. There's 36 million shares shorted. So here is the approval. So that happened. That occurred here. I think my last buy was around here in the 330 zone. Hit the approval, and then, of course, it dropped, which you would wonder why is it doing that? Well, because the market figured out that there are a lot of people who are buying here, waiting for approval. They're holding through, expecting this to happen right away. Well, it doesn't. They had it pretty heavily shorted. They had a good chain around. I think of it as like they put a handle on the stock so they can control it. The people who are shorting it, that's the they. And they manipulate it, run it down. They do all that type of stuff. Eventually, that has to break. That's what you're seeing here. Is that has to break. I look for these. So when I do swing trading or I do intraday trading or things like that, which I don't do it all the time. I have businesses to run, but I do it when I feel like it. And when I find a stock, if I find a stock that I want to own for a long time. I might do that because I know that if I get stuck, which you can get stuck in swing in intraday trading, swing trading, all that kind of stuff, that's just day trading. I don't mind because I'll hold it, and then when it finally, I'll just hold it anyway. So it's just, to me, it's just like I'm just buying it, but I'm trying to buy a little smarter. What I like to do when I hit this kind of moment where it has this was the absolute bottom. So if you think about stocks in terms of the phases, they're always going through the same cycle all the time. They go from bottom, then they're driving upwards, then they hit a top, then they drive downwards, then they go into a bottom again. So you have to figure out where is the stock at any one time. Well, after that approval, this is the absolute bottom. So think about this as phase 1. So this is where phase 2 starts, and that's the up phase. So the next thing to figure out is when is it going to hit the top, when is it going to hit the down phase, and when is it going to hit the bottom, which what I like to do is I'll take and I'll watch it hit that up phase. So you see how it hit this, and then it had a drawback, and I draw a line. Okay, so this is my first line right here. And then it went up again, and then it drew back. It cut through that line. That's that one. And then it hit this, and then went back up again. Notice how it's always running towards this first line and then running over it. Don't worry about these three because that's the next phase that started. It goes over, hits this. I draw another line here. If I draw halfway through this line right here, from this point, I have just this line based on these 2 points, this line based on these 2 points. If I drew the halfway, notice how, boom, right when it went up again and pulled back, it went down to that midpoint. That's when you got your big jump off of there. And then look at this. It goes right back to that first. I didn't draw that. It hit that line without, just based on these 2 points. This is how predictable this stock is. And when you get a predictable stock like this, it's almost like super manipulation, or at the very least, it means that there's an exceptionally strong, which there's still 30 plus million shares short at this point, what we're looking at. It's this exceptionally strong underlying thesis that hasn't broken out yet. That's what I think of it as. Because look how predictable it is. It goes up, hits the first line. I draw this line from 2 points, and then all of a sudden that becomes the resistance, and it's always going above this. Always going above this. And this point here, this is the channel, so that's the high point. You'll see in the next phase what this becomes. This is 2 lines right here. Goes above this, breaks through it, runs along the midline, never even gets close to hitting that third line again. And then this is when our next breakout came in. So we were at 346, and this is all still with 36 million. So this is still the manipulation in play. 36, we went from 346 to 6, so double. We got about double, a little bit under a double. It played with it, got back to this midline. Again, I'm not drawing this here. This is from these 2 points. It's that. It plays with it, and finally it just breaks out. Now that's on the announcement at the JP Morgan, but it was waiting for any announcement, if you can look at it. There's massive shorting. I agree with there's some people on StockTwits said, they were expecting, these shorts were expecting some dilution, so they thought they were going to get help. They didn't get help. And I think they were making a mistake thinking that the leadership at Ardelyx was going to help the shorts anymore. They had to bear with them through dilution. Of course, they're not going to help them. This gets you to this. So that was the wavering here, plays right along that midline. So this is the channel, and it's always kind of above that channel the entire time. Plays right above it, hits that positive, and then boom, straight up. Look what happens here. So I drew, these 3 are really for the next channel that we're in, but here we went from 615 to 922, so we're doing another 30% jump. So we did a 50%. This is another 30%. Goes up. This line here, remember, that was the top here. It just automatically, that was the first pullback. So I didn't draw this line for this. I drew it all the way back here. That's it hitting that same pullback that the top here became that one moment of resistance here before it jumped again. Pulled back right to the midline on this, and then it jumped all the way up here. This is the next top. So our next top was 923. That goes back years. I'm not going to pull back here, but 923 has been a resistance point back years ago before their CRL. Dropped back down. It's been in this channel, and it's just wavering around this channel. Look familiar? Wavering around that channel. Here it took from 19 December to I think it was Monday, 8th to the 8th. So almost the entire second half of December into the first half. We've been here wavering since there. It dropped on the 10th. Okay, so all of this happened this first 2 days of the week. And we're just doing this for the second half of a week. And it's doing exactly the same thing that you saw drawn out right here. Okay, So then I draw 3 more lines, and I draw this line attaching to this. I draw this line. Look how it just kind of plays on that, drops through it, but then it hits this bottom. It's been here. This is the only point where you see it really break down through the channels. And what happened? It hit that point, which is the line between this first pullback, a little bit of resistance, that top on the last phase, and it immediately jumped back up and went all the way back up. And now it's playing with this line here, just like it was playing with that center line, or like wrapping around it, almost like I think of it like a snake wrapping around something, as it did before. What do I think is going to happen? I don't really care. I'm going to hold this stock for a long time. The fundamentals are just phenomenal in terms of the market, the unmet need, the novel mechanism of approach, the potential in terms of other indications. All of those things are very positive. The revenue, what can be expected, at least for what we can expect in the next year with the ramp up on Xphozah, what they're saying about Ibsrela. There's so many positives. I'm not going to sell this stock, and I don't even want to swing trade it. But I think, in my opinion, not investment advice, I think we're looking at another break. So it's going to do the same thing it just did, except it's going to coil faster and happen faster because you have fewer shorts. And I think this whole zone right here is just every buyer on the planet who knows anything is going to buy in this zone. So if it even starts to go close to this, if you're selling, you're going to find buyers there, which means there's a couple things going to happen. They're going to run out of people willing to sell. Literally run out of stupid people. And then we're going to go and do the same thing that just happened. So where does it go next? I think we fly back by 10. I think 11 and 12 are the next place. And then at that point, maybe a little bit less willingness to jump in, maybe slows down a little bit. But I think we've got one more jump in us at least. And then we've got scripts, and scripts are going to keep coming. And everything else I've said in the other videos, I would stand by. I would think I was looking at 17 to 19 by the end of 2024 as a potential stock price. And then where it goes from there, I don't know. There's a high ceiling here in terms of you have hyperphosphatemia and IBS-C, then you have metabolic acidosis, hyperkalemia. There is some tie-in on things that could be done with congested heart failure and treatments for that. There's a whole $100+ billion market for probiotics and GI related issues. A lot of it's over the counter, but this could be another thing for that, like leaky gut, things like that. There's a massive market, and then you have all of Europe, and then you have rest of the world on top of that. So right now, this is a company that's just it did a tremendous, amazing thing with very, very little over the last couple of years, and now they have resources. And as revenue comes in and they start to have resources, you're going to see, I believe, in my opinion, not investment advice, some pretty tremendous growth happen over the next 2 years and plus. So that's what I think. Again, not investment advice. Do your own due diligence. I've done 6 hours of videos on this. I have, like I said, I haven't sold a share since probably March 2023. March 2023. I haven't swung shares because I wasn't selling. I was just trade them and buy them back and stuff. And I bought my last one the week before, I think the Friday before they announced the approval. And then I'll just hold and watch. But I've done very well with this, as I think many people have, and I still think it's cheap at 9. I think 12 to 13 is when it starts to get, people are going to be a little less willing to jump in, but there's a lot of room in terms of the as the scripts come in. Anyways, I'm gonna stop here. Thanks so much, guys. I hope everyone's doing well, and best of luck.